It's time to get your morning started with the news you need to know.
News update.
This is what's trending with DJ and PK. Hashtag NFL.
Roll out and I'm chasing down a couple times where he be moving. Like, I don't know what it is, but when I'm watching him, I'm running. It's like a movie. I feel like I'm going slow, but he be moving, man. He's been working hard, and he's the one.
Jalen Carter says Jalen Hurts has new levels of speed. He's moving, PK.
No, he be moving.
He be moving. So, 1,000-yard rushing season, 20 touchdowns, Eagles to the Super Bowl. He's unstoppable.
Do I want my quarterback doing that? When I got Saquon Barkley?
Ideally, no. Although, when they did win the Super Bowl, Hurts ran for a ton of yards, and Barkley went for 2,000. So, he actually had both guys doing it.
What's a ton of yards? You asked me 1,000, so a ton? Is that
what's the number?
1,000?
It was, it's a lot of the touchdowns with the whole, QB sneak.
You're not even running on that one. The tush
pushes. The critical yards.
You're running 1/4 speed on that.
I would say he ran for 500, but I don't know. That's off the top of my head.
Oh, that's fine.
How many hits do you take? That's what really matters.
Oh, when I got Barkley, who made the most athletic move I've ever seen in my life, when he hurdled a guy backwards.
Just awesome.
It really was. I mean, you realize how strong your core has to be? It's impossible to realize it.
Please replay that again, and they did. We saw it like 10 times from 10 angles. It was great.
Well, isn't that redundant?
Phenomenal.
Replay that again?
And again. And again.
Because if you replay it, you are playing it again.
But they've already replayed it once. Why don't you replay it again?
But once you say replay it, the word replay does not imply a single numerical number. Again and again. That needs to be on the Monday Night Highlight when they do the intro. It was an unbelievable play. That's what we're talking about with the athleticism with these guys. To be able to do something like that, and if you recall, the guys on the bench went berserk, as they should, because they've never seen it either.
What is he doing? He's flying backwards.
It's amazing.
Most of the headline these days just about guys who are injured or being held out because of injury. Rams wide receiver Puka Nacua left practice early yesterday. It was reported he had some groin soreness. There are reports the NFL may suspend him for the season opener against the 49ers.
Yeah, it's just one less game. He has an opportunity to get hurt. Who cares?
Myles Garrett missed the Rams joint practice against Green Bay. Soreness in his knee. The club says they're being smart with the defending defensive player of the year. Coaches report that he said he was feeling about 85% health-wise.
No, me too. Maybe 82%.
49ers coach Kyle Shanahan said defensive end Nick Bosa is dealing with tendonitis in his surgically reconstructed knee and is considered week to week. He's been absent from practice this week.
Well, I mean, hopefully they can make Nick Bosa great again. Like that, Yuck?
Well, he caused some controversy last year with a certain statement.
I have to ask him. I can't ask him.
I know.
You could.
Had a certain hat.
He was
joking.
Had a certain hat he was wearing that got him some hot water.
I think
you ever see that Curb Your Enthusiasm where Larry David doesn't want to go to lunch with the dude, but he can't apparently stand him up, so he decides to show up on the liberal west side of L.A. with a red hat with 4 certain words across it, and then the guy gets furious and leaves the lunch. He left the lunch. I was there to eat. Yeah.
I think Puka has now reached a level of like Madonna, Cher. It's just Puka.
It's just Puka?
Yeah.
You don't need Nacua anymore. There's no other Pukas.
Right.
It's just Puka.
When you say Puka, he's now the...
Who else could you possibly be talking about?
one-word, one-name athlete.
I like it.
Kareem, MJ.
Puka.
Yeah. Everybody knows who it is now. He's that caliber of player. Hopefully he keeps his head on straight, and he will waltz into the Hall of Fame.
That's a good list. We could work on that. Athletes who are just one name, and you know. John. Nope, no idea who you're talking about. LeBron. It's only one guy.
Well, yeah, it helps that you have an unusual name, too.
CBS Sports says there's no timeline for the return or final decision on the future of Tony Romo with the network as their top game analyst. He was arrested for OWI in Wisconsin last month.
It's amazing how some people get multiple chances on that and others don't. If it
And we're not clear which one of these camps Tony's going to fall into. He's getting the delayed ruling here.
And I'm not excusing it by any stretch. It's just that some do and some don't. I don't understand how it works. I mean, I'm not condoning what he did whatsoever in the least.
DJ PK.
If he's guilty.
Hashtag college football.
LSU quarterback Sam Levitt says he has fully recovered from the Liz Frank injury that ended his 2025 season and had him limited during spring ball. Of course, he transferred from Arizona State to LSU in the offseason. He made a stir by saying somewhat facetiously, quote, "I'm from Oregon. So Louisiana kind of felt almost fake to me in a way. I didn't think it was a real place, but after being out here, I love the trees. I've always wanted to be in the South. The humidity obviously was something I had to get used to, but I love it now."
Well, we've been to Oregon multiple times, and they have trees also.
They do. Louisiana has a special kind of heat and humidity, and we've heard about that.
Go ahead.
And they have a ton of SEC games that before TV took over, everybody play in the day, but there were a handful of places, including LSU, that play at night because it was just so miserable.
I've played on LSU's golf course. They have a golf course there in September. And you're talking to a kid who basically learned and played golf as a kid in Phoenix. And, it's been hot here too. And I have never been hotter than the time I played. And I was the only one out there. There's literally no one else.
Had the course to yourself because everybody's like, this is miserable. I'm not doing this now.
It was the humidity combined with the heat. It was unlike anything. And my father and I, well into my 20s, we would play the upper scale golf courses in the summer because they were cheaper, obviously. And I can say on literal personal experience that I had never been hotter playing there.
Do you have a limit? Like in Arizona, you'll go when it's 105. You'll go when it's 110. You'll go when it's one. Is there a limit where you draw a line? You hear a number and you think, I'm not going.
147.
Come on. I'm just curious with the heat and humidity in Louisiana. It's not, the number isn't that hot for 110, but the humidity.
What I found for me personally is that I can do 110, but not multiple days.
Okay.
So just do it once and then lay off for a week.
A week? Okay.
Well, but I'm not down there in the summer hardly at all to the level that I used to be. But because you can go way early in the morning too. And it's 100, and I know people are 100 is hot, but it's not 110, it's not 115. But I found that if I've gone, like we've gone down a couple times in the summer for family reasons, and the second day, killer. So I stopped doing the second day.
None of this back-to-back stuff.
No.
LSU or Arkansas? Because you got that story about going to your wife's grandmother's place in Arkansas, and you went out golfing. There were two dudes, and they had like a case of beer each, and they were in cut-off jeans and
no shirts.
No shirts.
No.
How hot and miserable was that? Because Arkansas.
Yeah, it was not pleasant, and I've done it in Georgia also, but still, LSU was literally it was so uncomfortable.
DJ and PK.
Hashtag NBA.
What do you make of that opening tip-off?
Fireworks for sure. I mean, they're going to be electric. They're going to be definitely a team to keep your eye on. I mean, they reloaded this year, so it's going to be a tough test, but we'll be ready.
That's the Knicks' Jalen Brunson, the defending champs, facing Philly opening night. LeBron James has moved to the Sixers, so as Jalen says, definitely fireworks. Golden State Warriors GM Mike Dunleavy says the franchise committed to ensuring that icon Steph Curry will retire as a Warrior. He is eligible to extend his contract with the team later this month. He could sign a 2-year, $136 million extension, which would give him 20 seasons with the franchise.
Well, for the Jazz's sake, I hope that happens.
Because that's the Warriors' 2 more years as a playing team, or maybe worse.
Yeah. I mean, this is a worn story. The superstar stays and is past his prime. The team is middling, and then he retires, so you have the romantic story there. and then you really start to rebuild.
But as the Jazz try to figure out how do we climb past these 10, 12 teams in front of us,
right.
Warriors, check that box. Next.
And we'll see if they make moves and whatnot. It's not a guarantee, but it looks that way right now anyway. And it looks like that could be a team that the Jazz could catch.
DJ and PK.
Hashtag Major League Baseball.
Here's the 1-0 pitch, hit hard in the air, deep to left field. Churrio's going back. He turns to watch. This one gonna go! Luis Rengifo, his first career grand slam, and it puts the Pods ahead 5-0 here in the second.
The payoff pitch. Crow Armstrong drills one deep in the air to right. This is long gone. It bangs off the facade of the upper deck. Wow! Solo shot PCA.
Swings and this ball game is over. Line drive right center field. Base hit. Dodgers win it 5-4 and a walk-off hit. Sixth time this year the Dodgers have walked it off. Win number 72 for the Dodgers.
Dodgers bouncing back, PK. They lost 8 out of 9. It was a rough week and a half, but now they got a couple of dramatic wins over the Kansas City Royals. Feels like they're getting their feet under them again. Pulling it together. Too good to stay down, right?
But I don't think they're going to face the teams the caliber of the Royals in the playoffs.
There is that, and the losing streak did come against teams that they could face in the postseason.
Right.
Also in there, you heard the Grand Slam power in the Padres. That's what you said about the Diamondbacks for their 10-run game. The Padres beat the Brewers 11-2. They won the first 2 in that series. But you have an 11-run game. Uh-oh. What's going to happen in Game 3 today? Going to have the big drop-off?
It doesn't always happen, but it tends to happen. And 2 nights ago, the Diamondbacks scored 9 runs. Last night, they hit 2 home runs and a triple in the first inning, and that was it.
Padres have won 14 of 18. They're tied with Philly and Arizona. 3 teams dead heat with 41 games to go. Fighting for the last 2 wild cards in the National League. Rays pounded the Athletics 12-4. Does he? At what point? I mean, double figures, double digits. That makes sense. But for a team that scores like the Cubs score 8, but on 9 hits, feel like they're due for a drop off tomorrow. Cubs beat the Nationals 8-6.
Well, it's baseball, so anything can happen. I don't think 8 is that outrageous. I always go double digits.
All right, put on the official scorer's hat here. Get your number 2 pencil and sharpen it. What did you think? The errorless streak that we were talking about, Jacob Wilson of the A's. It goes to 113 games, but controversial. Ball hit up the middle, forced play at second. The second baseman didn't even really help him taking a lap around the bag. I guess that's why the scorer, who originally gave an error and then changed it to a fielder's choice. So the streak goes on. Do you think that was an error?
Well, I haven't seen the play.
Oh. It's right over the bag. Let me back it up for you right here. And the second baseman's committed to the ball and then changes his mind and goes to the bag. So he does not provide a good target if you watch. Where am I going? And the ball was...
second base blocked him.
The ball, he could have... If the second baseman goes to the bag, he could have caught that toss.
Yeah, I don't think that in those situations you can assume an out at second.
And I think that thought right there...
Yeah.
Even though it looked like it was a play that could be made, the second baseman was all over the map. I'm getting the ball. No, I'm going to the bag.
It would have been a bang-banger.
Yep.
So I'm fine with it. Plus, he's an antelope, man. I'm an antelope. Grand Canyon. Although when I went, it was Grand Canyon College. It's now Grand Canyon University. GCU. La-di-da.
La-di-da. Philadelphia Phillies star Bryce Harper dealing with left knee soreness after making the move back to right field. Is his body going to be able to handle it? His knee, Ohtani's knee, all kinds of guys with knee soreness and swelling and issues. Mariners have lost 5 in a row. Cal Raleigh, their star catcher, took the blame. He's slumped after AL MVP runner-up and big numbers last year. Quote, "We're not playing well. That starts with me. I'm awful. We're just playing very, very bad baseball in every facet of the game."
Well, he did not greet Randy Rosarina in the World Baseball Classic as teammates, so a lot of people think that is just the baseball gods not happy with that.
Mariners 4.5 games behind the Astros and Rangers in the AL West, where 500 puts you right in the middle of everything.
In their 50th year. They had a celebration a few weeks back.
Bees beat El Paso 4-3 series opener. Game 2 today is at noon. You can listen to Tony Parks on the call. 102.7 HD2 and the KSL Extreme beginning at 11:50. DJ and PK.
Hashtag RSL.
Verjunka stabs it back to Luna. Luna has it poked away. Goes, gets it, sends it over to Caliscan. Caliscan through for Salons. Good turn, shot, and a goal! Salons, what a finish! 2-0 RSL. Throw into Olatunji in the box. He'll head it back out of the box for Salons. Back to Caliscan. Caliscan slots the ball through for Yedlin. In front, Lineker Rodriguez punches it in. Flag stays down. Lineker Rodriguez scores for RSL, and it's 3-0. Real Salt Lake beats FC Juarez. They shut him out, and this is why you love Pablo, and this is probably what he taught him at Thunderbird High, PK. A couple weeks ago when RSL lost to LAFC, he said, yeah, but look at all the good stuff that happens. You know, the score doesn't always reflect that. And sure enough, last night he said, yeah, but look at all the bad stuff that happened. The score doesn't reflect it. So you get the similar answer after the win and the loss. Juarez had a penalty that they sent over the bar. They had a goal waved off on another night. Maybe it stands, but it got waved off. They might have played their way back into that game, but they couldn't finish a couple of great opportunities. So RSL gets back-to-back shutouts. And now they got a little help last night, so now they'll wait and see if they can advance. They need some more help tonight and tomorrow. It's 5 teams for 3 spots. They need a couple of the other 4 to lose so they can move into the quarterfinals.
Well, I hope it works out for you guys.
Thank you.
I just think that English, or not English, but Americans with no accent, you just can't say nil. You have to have an accent.
I thought you were going to go to some of the Spanish pronunciations.
Oh, that's even stupider.
Yeah. Well.
Unless if you live down there and speak the language, that's okay, though.
Which obviously I do not, right? Aside from Vladimir in the opener, there's a lot of twirling of the L's and the R's to be done there. All right, so let's see if they get some help here tonight and tomorrow, and RSL's back in action. The quarterfinals are 2 weeks away, later this end of this month. They will be back in action in Major League Soccer play against Minnesota Saturday night at home.
So you're going to do prep football games. Does it start tomorrow?
Thursday and Friday.
Yeah.
Yes.
So if Skyline plays whomever and they score, you're going to go. That makes and the PAT makes it 7-0.
No, I probably will not do that.
See,
please try
phony.
it.
That'd be phony. That'd be fun to throw that on Friday night with Riley and see what Riley's reaction is.
That is phony right there. If you won't do it for one, why won't you do it for the other? That's not who you are. But if I took somebody from Spain, brought him over here to do our football, he would say 7-0.
But how come it's a head coach in football and then it's a manager in baseball? Every sport has its unique stuff, PK.
Good job deflecting,
Thank you.
But that doesn't have anything to do with you.
I learned it from watching you, all right? All right, what's trending is brought to you by Shamrock Plumbing. There's no job too big or too small. Get the personal touch with Shamrock Plumbing. A new guy for you to watch, though, with Real Salt Lake. The whole thing here has been, Gozo's gone. He was getting his medical stuff done in London yesterday.
Gozo
Gonzo. And so now there were 3 or 4 guys that could play, and one of the first guys they tried, Zach Booth from Eden, Utah, another local guy, another academy product.
Right.
It looks like he's nailing that job down. I mean, they could rotate through and try some other stuff, but they'd have to change formation, and then that changes how you switch from offense to defense. It just makes it more complicated. And it's not that he's as good as Gozo. He's not. Pablo last night was talking about Gozo's a unicorn.
Sure.
But
which is why he is where he is.
And Pablo went to that point. And you're not going to find another guy in the world who can make that many high-end runs that often, twice a week in games. It's not going to happen. But Booth does have a lot. He is a local guy like Gozo. He does have a lot of speed. He is a willing defender. Now, he can't do that stuff to the same level as Gozo. But there's some similarities there, and it does look like he's there. So you're looking for a young guy, a local guy who is actually from Utah, not brought in from somewhere around the world. Keep your eye on Zach Booth, because there's some promise there for sure. All right, that's all the what's trending stuff. So now, go ahead. Matt Brown, Extra Points newsletter, is going to join us after the break. All the stuff about BYU and Kalani and more resources, football, basketball, AD. It's making news. People nationally are noticing. Matt Brown, Extra Points newsletter, will join us next. Darnell Dixon, the Daily Herald, at 9 o'clock. It's also Win Tickets Wednesday. We got tickets to see Motley Crue and the return of the Carnival of Sins tour with performances from guests Tesla and Extreme at Utah First Credit Union Amphitheater September 21st. We'll give those tickets away in the 8 o'clock hour. Stay with us. Matt's coming up next. Question of the day at 8 o'clock. It's all on the way. DJ and PK. It's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Turn it up. Let's go. It's a new era for sports radio in Utah. This is the all-new KSL Sports Zone. As always, DJ and PK kick off your mornings from 6 to 10. Then introducing the newest addition to the KSL Sports Zone. The coach, Tim Lacombe, joins Scotty G every day from 10 to 2. And as you wrap up your day, Jake Scott and Ben Anderson are there with the best sports talk in Utah from 2 to 6. Live and local, all day, every day. Your home for the best sports radio in Utah is live, on air, online, and on the KSL Sports app. This is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. We're joined now by Matt Brown from the Extra Points newsletter. Matt, welcome back to the show.
Hey, good morning, fellas. Thanks for having me.
Man, it was a big weekend here as everybody saw stuff on Cougar Board and then saw a BYU official actually put something on Cougar Board, which is shocking. Cougar Board's been around for 25 years, to dispel the rumors and say the AD's still in place, knock it off, quiet down. And we realized this story, then news travels, and now it's become a story nationally, and I think we're all curious how it's hitting as people around the country find out about this. So, Matt, you're right here with us. How's it hitting? How's it landing?
How's it hitting? I think once you get outside of the state of Utah, the more interesting thing to people is, wow, BYU's posted on Cougar Board now, rather than, BYU's athletic director may or may not be in trouble / may or may not be being terminated soon. Once we get into fall camp season, where we are right now, I could tell you as someone whose entire career is writing about things like athletic directors hiring or being fired, most fans don't care about that as much. I understand why it's a big story here locally, especially given Kalani's comments a couple of days ago, given BYU's new hire of an experienced, potential quasi-AD from Kentucky. I understand there's a lot of questions, but the biggest national thing is, this is something you don't see every day, and this is a very specifically chosen worded statement. Things that make you go, I know that radio is a visual medium and everything, but I'm making the Brian Windhorst face right now as we're talking. Just why would they do that? Interesting.
Yeah, I think that the timing of it all is something that I think Kalani chose to do it. He went on Ben Criddle's show and said what he said, and I think it was on purpose. I think it, in his mind, it was time to say that, and I spent probably 4 hours on the thing yesterday. Wrote a piece for KSL.com that they published overnight. It's up now. And, the idea of money not coming, promises not being kept, and then being redirected to basketball, all that stuff, that's all in there. What do you think the fallout could be? Or maybe a lesser word would be ramifications.
Yeah, this is an interesting kind of place and market, right? Because at most of the country, not everywhere, but most of the country, when you have a battle between an enormously popular, successful, and recently extended head football coach and an athletic director or a senior administration official who hasn't been there that long, the coach wins 9 out of 10 times. Part of the job of being an AD is the very difficult task of telling a respected and coach who makes 6 times what you make, tell that person no. And there's tensions there. We can look at Utah for that. We can look at Kentucky for that. We can look at Michigan and lots of other places where those things happen. I have followed this program enough and been doing this beat long enough to know that BYU is not the kind of place where they're going to let an AD, they're going to terminate an AD, less than 2 years into that person's tenure, especially because there's so few people in this industry that have the administrative experience and the temple recommend that you can't just fly through those people. You're not going to terminate someone so early in their tenure unless you have an extremely good reason. So what ends up happening is you kind of, I don't want to say passive aggressively, but there are political ways to make your frustrations known, and how Kalani phrased things is one way to do that. And then that you end up with some meetings and you yell at each other in the meetings, and then you figure it out and you move on. And in 2 months, if BYU's winning football games, nobody will remember this but nerds like us. If this was at Ohio State or Texas, things could turn out a little bit differently, for good or for ill, because this is a different kind of market and more private, and even among private schools. I would be surprised if this is still a talking point in mid-October. If it is, something's gone terribly wrong in Provo.
That's an interesting point about has something gone terribly wrong, because to your point, these kinds of things happen in lots of athletic departments, but how far does it go before it gets resolved? And there's a thought here. Is football cannibalizing the rest of the department? Are we just at a point where financially it should be, because the whole department and what league you're in rests on how good you are in football? How is this playing out? Are you seeing these kind of battles between football and basketball in other sports, especially at the schools where basketball is more of a priority?
If we're being honest, the number of schools where basketball is legitimately more of a priority than football in FBS, we can count on one hand. Even at places with enormously popular and significant basketball traditions, like Kansas and North Carolina, when your job is the financial bean counter and you look at where the public attention comes from, it's still football. Football will always need more resources, even if you are a quote-unquote basketball institution, because your basketball roster has 15 guys, right? You've got, 4 assistants, and you might have – we can throw in some GAs and a GM and a Dobo and everything else. You're looking at a total staff of 30 people. And that's football is going to be 6 times that, just in terms of roster size and everything that you need administratively, which it kind of seemed like Kalani was getting at a little bit more, rather than just, oh my God, I need more money to pay my tight end. It's we're running a business here, and we don't want people having 4 or 5 different administrative jobs, and folks have that in other schools in this conference. With the tension though between football and basketball, and for that matter between football and every other sport, that's a constant almost everywhere. It requires a truly enormous amount of money and uncommonly strong hires to be good at everything. Most of the schools that are really, really good at football are not as consistently really, really good in men's basketball. And the ones that are, places like Alabama, places like Florida, places like Michigan, are playing in a different financial stratosphere than where BYU is playing. All that's to say, though, I don't think I know enough as some doofus in Chicago to say the problem with BYU administratively right now is basketball. I don't think we have enough information to necessarily say that. I get why that's the popular narrative. This could just be a failure to communicate.
I think part of the issue here is that there's a lot of hands involved. It's not a coach, athletic director, it's athletic director and then folks above him. And sure. BYU is trying to navigate this world of the mission of the university, obviously educating the students, but also the connection to the Latter-day Saint Church. It's direct, right? We all know that, and there's really no point in arguing about it, what have you. But in talking with some of the people, the idea is it needs to be run more like a business, and where do you get the biggest return on the investment? So BYU doesn't want to be seen as a sports factory and a football factory But at the same time, they say they want to win at the highest levels, which requires the types of commitment probably that we're going to see from Texas Tech and have been seeing. So they have to come to some type of acceptance of that. And I think that's part of the issue, as it's a little bit of a struggle for them, given the fact that they are a religious institution, and we understand and respect that, but at the same time trying to win and how they balance that. I think that's part of the issue here.
You may very well be right. You know, you guys being local are always going to have a probably a more clear perspective on this. I've written about this before. We might have even talked about it. Broadly speaking, I know there's an uncomfortable culture shift because, in my experience, growing up in the LDS church and being around the LDS church and covering BYU and covering college sports for so long, for most of my life, the common perception was you don't work for BYU or any LDS affiliated enterprise for the money. You're not going to get paid the highest rate if you're a German professor or a software engineer or a basketball coach, because they want people that want to be there for the mission, right? Like, you're still going to get paid, but they don't want people to be in Provo just for the money. And there's positives and negatives to that philosophy, but I understand it and I grew up with it. And that doesn't work in football or basketball or college sports right now. And to either BYU's credit or BYU's detriment when it comes to coaching and when it comes to paying for athletic talent, that mindset has shifted. But if I'm a 72-year-old dude in Sandy, I can understand why you might look at this and think, oh my gosh, the world has changed, BYU and the church has changed, and I'm uncomfortable with it. And some of those people have administrative, ecclesiastical, or political power, and I get how that's a difficult thing to navigate, and I can't possibly say from my perspective what the right decision is, right? Because the stakeholders here and what you want, it's different from Notre Dame and different from everyone else. The other thing I think I'll quickly add that's important, I think, in these kind of dynamics, and that it's different from the last 5 or 6 years. When you say, hey, BYU athletics needs to run a little bit more like a business, or big-time college sports needs to run more like a business, and that's true everywhere. And when that happens is now you have a new group of stakeholders that have more power and influence than maybe they did a decade ago, and those are major donors. Are now your quasi-investors. We would not have been having the conversation about the proverbial cookie man the way that we did, last year, in this new era. And so, if you're a senior administrator at a place like BYU, you got to manage the suits in Salt Lake, you got to manage the suits elsewhere on campus, and you got to manage the people now that are giving you 6, sometimes 7 figures and wanting influence, and you need those people more than maybe you did 15 years ago when there wasn't an athletic payroll. And that's not an easy political job.
Right.
Matt Brown joining us, Extra Points newsletter. Maybe this all gets worked out. He gets the money, and like you said, it's this is a footnote as the games are being played. But if he doesn't, and if he's frustrated and he doesn't see it getting better and he wants to take a job somewhere else, he passed on Penn State. What do you think the appetite would be for Kalani if USC or Oklahoma or Texas or some other big-time job comes up?
Yeah, this should be a relatively active year. I think in the coaching carousel, I expect there to be other Big Ten and Big 12 jobs that are going to open up this cycle. We know there's a couple of folks in the SEC that are going to have significant pressure on them, even though this was a big cycle in that conference. And he'd be one of the better coaches on the market, especially if BYU lives up to their preseason projections here and contends for a Big 12 championship. I don't know whether they're going to win or if they're going to finish third, or because the difference between first and eighth in this conference is so small. But yeah, he would be an attractive person for somebody like a USC if that opened up. It's going to be expensive for someone to pry him out of Provo, and I understand all of the other reasons why he might want to stay. But yeah, if he's actually mad, and if you promised that, and I'm saying this because I don't know this, I'm not reporting it, but if he was promised something and if he didn't get it, like any other employee who is desirable on the market, yeah, you're at risk of alienating or losing that person. And that happens in college sports sometimes. It happens with players every year.
You say you're in the Midwest, so I got something that is in your wheelhouse. A couple of weeks ago, we were talking about this, and it was involving Kyle Whittingham saying about the question became about the hate of Ohio State, right? And I've got extended family in the Michigan area. My mother-in-law is from there and been back there, and it's my wife's family, not mine, but I've spoken to him many times. And you got to hate Ohio State. And I came back and I said, I don't think it's a big deal that Kyle didn't come out, I hate those you-know-whats. But I said that I thought it was going to be a story. And sure enough, when he gets back into town, they ask him about it, and he responds, well, if I hate him more, is that going to help us win? I mean, so I thought it was a great response, but I knew it would be a story. Even though it's not a big story, it's kind of a funny off-the-wall story. What do you think of it?
It's so funny. They're still talking about this here.
Yeah.
And I actually think I was hoping somebody would ask me about this when I was doing radio in this market, because I think there's some important differences between the Holy War rivalry and Ohio State, Michigan. I'm from Columbus. I live in Chicago now. I went to Ohio State. I know that rivalry very, very well. And I've been trying to explain to people here locally, of course Kyle would say that. He's a BYU grad that coached at Utah and is great friends with BYU's head coach. And that rivalry, BYU-Utah, is different from Ohio State-Michigan because unless you live in Toledo, you don't live on top of Michigan fans or Ohio State fans in this area. You don't go. You're not as likely to have somebody at church who roots for the other team, or a boss, or necessarily a neighbor. It's much more homogenous. And if you're in Salt Lake or anywhere, within these two schools, you're going to have every element of your social circle is going to have people from both fan bases. So you can't capital H hate them the same way. You want to beat them. It dominates your recruiting. You'll get fired if you don't win. But you have to live with these people in a way that you don't with Ohio State, Michigan. The difference in OSU, Michigan is that on the field and financially and culturally and structurally, that game's more important because that's usually for a conference title, national title implications. BYU, Utah is usually not going to be for playoff spots or anything. That might change in the future, but historically that hasn't been the case. But I think Kyle's exactly right. And I think there's a learning curve here on both sides because the cultural differences between his previous employment and jobs and where he is now are significant. But anybody who's close friends with Urban Meyer is going to understand the importance of the Ohio State-Michigan rivalry. It's not like Kyle doesn't want to win that game.
So Ryan Day leaves Ohio State and Kalani ends up there. How weird would that be? If you're just going to play out hypotheticals, how weird would that be? It would be
it would be so weird, and I think as someone in my position, that would be a thing I think I'd have to write a book about, right? I would suddenly be a very popular national radio guest if Kalani comes to Columbus. I don't know how much you'd like it, right? I mean, things have changed since I lived there, but I can't recall too many other Polynesian brothers and sisters in the 614 area code, but I guess there weren't that many in State College either.
Well, Matt, we appreciate the time. Thanks for joining us, and thanks for giving us a little national perspective to the story of the weekend.
Of course. All right. Thanks for having me, guys.
Matt Brown, you can check him out with his Extra Points newsletter, hip deep in college football and college sports. DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. The question of the day is coming up at the top of the hour. It's a Win Tickets Wednesday. We'll give the concert tickets away in the 8 o'clock hour. Stay with us right here on The Zone. Join Scotty G and the Coach Friday from 10 to 2. Tim Daly Mazda, 10785 South Auto Mall Drive in Sandy. The weird story of the day, PK. I read it. It took a while, but then I saw the video. Did you see that story about the high school football player in Arkansas who was at practice and had a 2-foot-long cottonmouth snake inside his helmet for quite a while, apparently? He finally took it off, and then they couldn't get the snake out of the helmet until they doused it in water.
Haven't thought about that, a snake in football, since Kenny Stabler passed.
Legend, Kenny the Snake Stabler.
Who I stood next to at the urinal in LAX.
This story gets out of control very quickly.
That's the truth.
I know. You told me the story. Here they are. They put this.
What's up, Snake?
They put it in one of those a smaller ice bucket,
Oh, yeah, I heard the story.
And it forced the snake finally to come up for air.
It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. And now, if full grown, which this wasn't, this is juvenile here, but full grown, it's a potentially.
So minor?
Yeah, it was. It couldn't drive yet. Full grown, the bite could be
of course
dangerous. I mean, potentially fatal. Now, this wasn't full grown.
Who wants to get bit by a snake?
Nonetheless, just creepy to have a snake inside the helmet.
That's impossible to comprehend.
Right. There it is. I guess you just set your helmet on the ground. That wouldn't be that unusual. And then the snake slithers through the grass and into the helmet, and away you go. And yikes. That guy's got a story for life, though. He's got a story every reunion, every wedding. Can you top this? I don't think people are going to be topping his story very often.
No, it's bizarre. Yeah, the things you can hear and see and learn about are just off the charts, and that was right there when I saw that. That's been a couple of days ago now, I think. That
the story came out a couple of days ago, but I just saw the video last night.
Okay.
So I retweeted that. You go to X, you can see it there if you want to see them approach that thing very carefully. They got the long stick and I don't know what it's called. Looks like a grabber, whatever. No one's putting their hand anywhere near that thing. Smart move.
Right.
Football's almost here. High school football kicking off tomorrow night. I think there's 3 or 4 games tomorrow night. And we got a couple of them on KSL Sports on the app or KSLSports.com. And then the full schedule Friday, a couple more games on Saturday at Snow College. And so that just means college is that much closer, PK. 2 more weeks.
Oh, yeah. It's football time because the NFL really gets underway with this preseason stuff. Tomorrow there's a slew of games, and then it's basically now until the end of February or the middle of February with the bowl. So, yeah, I understand that, and that's something that we all look forward to, and it marks, not to quote any presidential candidate, but it really marks the passage of time. And the passage of time means that time passes. And so... What are you looking at?
You and Yak. I mean, those are my options. I got you to my right. I got Yak to my left.
You can look at the wall.
I saw your face. That would be weird. I could, though. You're
just
right.
Turn around. And
his bus. Yeah. We'll just do a segment like this. We'll finish the segment this way. All right, go ahead, PK.
Well,
I was just looking at you.
I no offense, but I would appreciate that. I appreciate that more.
I was looking at you. Oh, yeah, none taken. I was looking at you, and I was just imagining what was on Yak's face. And sure enough, when I looked over there, it was the exact look. There's a little comedy, a little bemusement, a little what is happening here, a little bit of, well, if he's like this now, what does it mean for the next segment or the next hour? Where are we going here?
Got 2 hours to go.
Yeah, right? And it was all there. It was all on your face, Yak. You did not disappoint. Very reliable.
And I would caution all those teams that have struggled in the past, don't be unburdened by what has been.
Okay. I don't know how many people can recall that, but well played.
Because it's a new season. New seasons, no matter what they are, always should bring a level of optimism, man. Especially at the high school level. Because for 99.9, this is it. And this is something you've been doing. If you're a senior, this is something you've been doing probably since you're 8 years old. And this is it, man. And you've got, 9, 10 games guaranteed, whatever they play.
Depends on the school, yeah. 10 regular season. Yeah, right. And they've tightened up the playoffs this year. The 24-team playoffs and the bigger classifications are down to 16, so no guarantee of playoff games.
Right. And then it's over. And then that's it, man. That is it.
Tackle football isn't coming around again.
No.
They're not putting on the pads and the helmet.
Yeah, I was fortunate enough to play baseball one season out of high school, and I can recall in a playoff situation when it was ending, it was everything to me, knowing full well that was it. And it had been something that I'd been doing forever and ever. And I can go play softball, and I played softball from when I first got out into college at the A level and then dropped down played Daily Breeze. We had 2 leagues, and we wanted to win a title, so we dropped down to the D League to win one, and we got it.
Did you get promoted? Did they force you out? All right, no sandbagging and back-to-back. On to the C League with you.
Yeah. They moved you up. So, we did. We finally got one, and I don't see those guys as much anymore, if at all. I'll see a couple of them next week, but you still talk about it, and it's part of what we do. I assume other countries, but I haven't lived anyplace else. What we do as American males who are into sports, and American females if they're into sports. It's what they do, and when it's over, it's sad, and there's so much anticipation. You work so much year-round now, basically, for this opportunity to run out on the field, and that'll happen this week for the high schools, and KSL apparently is going to be all over it. You know way more about it than I do. I'm not involved in it.
27 games streaming on KSLSports.com and the KSL Sports app over the next 3 days, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. It'll
obviously be all season too, right?
Right. Yeah, and that'll be the ballpark number. It'll change a little bit week to week, but I would expect a couple dozen games. And they come from all over the state. Some of them are produced here by this staff, and then some are produced by other groups around the state and carried. So you can watch games out of St. George. You can watch games out of Central Utah. I am not in charge of this.
But you have some leadership role in it.
A little bit. Visualizing how to change it, how to grow it, and that kind of stuff. But, I mean, Nate Dowdle is in charge of it. But there are different people who have, like you say, some level of responsibility. JJ has a level of responsibility. He scheduled a bunch of Thursday games this year. I think 9 of the 10 weeks he'll be calling a Thursday game. Same for me, 9 of the 10 weeks. There's a couple Wednesdays late in the year. The schools are moving games.
Uh-huh. Yeah, well, when they have the fall break.
They have the fall break. Yeah, so you see games get moved the last 2 games. So those days, the question last week is how many Friday games will we do? It's a very small schedule, the final Friday of the year, because everybody's getting ready for playoffs. And now for the bigger classifications, there's going to be a bye week before the playoffs for everybody because they got rid of that opening round.
But then they end up at Rice Eccles as usual?
Semifinals and finals. Mid to late November, as usual. Same deal.
Yeah,
three triple headers, 4A, 5A, and 6A scheduled.
Will you be there?
I assume so, yeah.
Cool.
All right, DJ and PK, more football in a minute. The question of the day, how long do you think Kalani Sitake stays at BYU? We will get to that next. Stay with us. DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.